Welcome to Caviar Conversations. I'm your host, Dr. Noya, and today we have a very special guest, Amanda Helou. She's a partner at Doma Group. She's a real estate entrepreneur, and she has created an amazing partnership with her husband. And our episode today is about ambition, success, partnership, the real truth behind burnout, and really what it takes to be successful and all that goes on behind the scenes. Welcome, Amanda.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here today.
Yes, it's honestly amazing because I've known you for
too many years.
Yes, it's probably been about 15 years or so. So I feel like we've really had the opportunity to see each other grow through schooling, through partnership,
different stages of life.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, right now the topic of burnout is really popular and adrenal fatigue and things like that. And now more than ever, Vancouver being a huge city for business, small business, real estate. So tell me a little bit about what, burnout and questioning yourself and what that kind of all means for you.
Yeah, well, real estate, as everybody, the memes tell you, you want to work for yourself. You want to be your own boss, but they don't tell you that you work 24/7, 365 days of the year, and you never really have a break. So burnout is just something that's inevitable if you don't put self-care as a priority. And I think that that's where a lot of people have difficulty, is because they're constantly just go, 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 always trying to make everybody else happy, especially in our industry, because clients come first. We're always having to take care of client needs. And it gets to a point where sometimes you just got to take care of your own needs. So yeah, burnout is never a fun thing to, go through. And it's something that it hits you like a ton of bricks and it comes out of nowhere. So once you kind of hit it, you realize that you have to prioritize yourself. And, in this industry, a lot of people fail, especially in their first couple of years. I think the rate is like 70 or 80% of agents fail in the first 2 to 3 years. So if you really want to make it in this industry, you have to push yourself. You have to grind, and you just have to keep going and going and going, literally until your wheels fall off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is almost why they make exams so hard. It's because if you make it through that, you're through the first hump and you have some of those skills that it takes. And then I can't imagine putting your whole career and changing, and you don't know when you're going to get your next paycheck. How was that? Like, what were you doing before real estate, and how was the transition into a completely different industry?
Yeah. So previous to this, I was living in Dubai, and I was in Dubai for almost 8 years, and I had graduated with my bachelor's degree from BCIT. Didn't know if I graduated. I wrote the exams and I took off, and I had 2 suitcases and no job, no home. Luckily, I had a friend who helped me kind of get situated there, and I was working in the medical industry. So I was working for some plastic surgeons, cosmetic doctors, and that was really just my stint there. And when I came back to Canada, I just wanted to try something different. Real estate was something that I always wanted to do. My family really wanted me to get a degree, so they didn't want me going into real estate because of how difficult it is. Being a commission-only job, you don't make money unless you close a deal. So it is very daunting. This market does not help, but the good agents really see it through, and they're able to survive these, I guess, market lulls, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I find it so interesting because it is difficult, and you do see a lot of people becoming realtors because of the glitz and the glam. And obviously it's always the 1% of that truly go on to make a full career and a successful one and surpass it. What would you tell people right now that are thinking of transitioning or have been thinking about real estate? Because obviously when you see other people or you see that 1% that's doing so well, your mind kind of goes, well, that seems really cool. That looks great.
I can do it too.
Yeah, I can do it too. They're driving a nice car. Yeah. They always look, 10 out of 10. They seem to meet really high-powered people that are very successful and have great networking skills. So what would you tell people that are considering a complete career change and going into real estate from, let's say, a typical 9 to 5 or something where there's lacking a little bit of growth?
I would definitely say, if you want to get into real estate, number one, you need to have some money set aside. If you are a single female or a single male, or you don't have, the backings of your family, you don't live at home, it is very daunting. And it's purely because, like I said, you don't know when your next paycheck is. So if you're going to get into real estate, have a safety net. Like, you're not going to get into this business and not spend money. You need to spend money to make money. You know, you get a client and you list their property, you have to pay for the photography, the videography, the marketing materials. Are you running ads? Like, what are you doing? How are you going to market not only your listings, but yourself? So you do have to have some money set aside. And that even is included, like, your rainy day fund. You need to be able to pay rent. You need to pay for your car, your insurance, your gas. You're going to have to go and meet people all over the city. So you do need to have some financial backing to start.
I do think that, yes, you have to have a certain personality type to be in entrepreneurship, period. And that includes any position that is a sales only. I still consider that entrepreneurship, even if you're like working with someone, because yes, it's commission based. You're kind of a contractor and everything is dependent on you. Yeah. Of course, a company, a group, a mentor can give you the skills needed to get you there. But ultimately, like, you have to build those skills. You have to have that nervous system regulation that you can go on there. And honestly, I will be the first one to say that when I don't feel that I have security in, like, my home, my rent, food, you know, some excess, car, I definitely start to have anxiety and I go into this scarcity, and like, that energy is such a repellent to sales. It's such a repellent to success. Yes. It's a repellent to people in general. And so when you're in that like flight or fight fear all the time, it's hard to, you aren't like setting yourself up for success in the best way. But when you're coming in things like, I don't need it, like, I don't need the sale, I don't need that client, you can just be your authentic self and you speak from such a like, you know, these are the facts about, let's say, the home or the car or whatever it is you're selling. And you're like, I think this would be best for you based on what you're telling me. But it's totally like, you tell me A or B, what option fits you, what's your budget. You're not afraid to ask these questions and ask them, like, what is your budget, point blank? Yeah. And a lot of the time when we have a little bit of scarcity or fear, we're scared to ask the questions that are a necessity to tease out the true want or need from that buyer.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Real estate is very specific. People are ultimately hiring you because they like you. You're not going to somebody who you don't like. You need to have that connection. You need to build that rapport. And it's not instant. Just because they find you on Instagram or, you know, they see one of your ads, you still have to make that independent touch point between you and that person. So ultimately, yeah, you have to be comfortable with yourself. You have to be comfortable in the way you talk. You have to present yourself right. There's a lot of different things besides just knowing about real estate, because that's just one factor. Everybody laughs because they say real estate agents are therapists. You know, we're motivators. We are inspectors. We are investigators. Like, we do so much just to get a deal done. So it's definitely a very unique position. It's definitely a very unique career, and it's not for everybody. You got to be a little crazy to work for free.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. The amount of hours and the late nights. And also, again, there's that, like, I want to be there for my client. And also clients have that expectation. Like, Vancouver real estate is not cheap.
No.
And so if somebody is spending that level of money, and to be honest, at times it's not even, in my mind, I'm like, if it's going to cost that much, it should be your dream home. But unfortunately, I know you have to look at real estate sometimes as an investment over time. And
absolutely.
What made you decide to partner with Doma Group, and how would you tell someone, like, how do you pick the right group to work with? Like, what things do you look for? Yes. What are some things that you've known, if you've worked for other groups previous to that you learned before finding the right group?
Yeah, I mean, again, groups are something that you have to go out and start meeting people. I think what a lot of people do first off is they just join a group because they want to have a home. Because as a new agent, it's scary out there. You know nothing. You've gone through school and courses, but they don't really teach you much. Like, it's theory and like real world practice are so different. Reading a textbook and then writing a little exam is not the same as handling the emotional roller coaster that is a potential buyer or seller. So I think when you're going and looking for teams, you really have to look at the people that are on the team. Do you think that you'll connect with them, go and interview them. That's basically what new agents are told to do. Go interview the team. Do you like the team lead? Because every team has to have like a head, like a leader. So like, do you mesh with this person? Do you like what they do? Do you see yourself wanting to work under them? And ultimately, after going through a few teams, I decided to make my own with my business partner. And I think ultimately that was the best thing for me, just because then I would get a little bit more time and focus on my business. And ultimately, if you're in a team with 50, 60 agents, it's very difficult to get one-on-one time. So that's what drove me to start Doma Group with my business partner. And it's been great so far. So no complaints on my end. I think that was the best decision for me and my business.
Amazing. And I saw that you had said he's stuck with you now.
He's stuck
and
with me.
You made sure. So how did that come about? And how did you create this opportunity for yourself?
We were at a business meeting one day, and he's just a really inconspicuous person. He's not flashy at all. And I was just listening to him and the way he was speaking and the way that he commanded the room when he was speaking. I ultimately was just like, I like what this guy does. I like the way he talks. He's a no BS person like me. So very black and white, no shades of gray. And I kind of cornered him after the meeting. And I was just like, hi, nice to meet you. Like, you know, one-on-one. And I kind of just said, listen, I'm new. And I'm really just looking for some sort of mentorship. And he thought I was, pardon my French, he thought I was batshit crazy because I was just very aggressive and just went after it. And then we went out for coffee a couple times. He tested me a couple ways. And ultimately, when we did the little, little tests, I came back to him within, I think, like 24 hours. And I was like, okay, is this how you do it? And I was showing him all my work. And he was really surprised, given that I'd only had my license for like 6 months. And ultimately, that persistence, that a little bit of aggression, but nice aggression. You got to be aggressive. Go after what you want, because that's the only thing in life that matters, is taking care of yourself and your goals and your aspirations. And so he saw that drive in me. And ultimately, that was the drive that got me the partnership position when the time came right.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like strategic partnerships are so beneficial these days because
Absolutely.
people bring different skill sets and you have different minds working together and somebody to bounce ideas off of and really develop someone. If you know, it's nice to have somebody challenging you and what you have to say, and you get to think so much deeper about whatever it is you're trying to do and how to achieve that goal. And I think that's such a beneficial, I think now this is more common to build strategic partnerships and do things together. I mean, it's a crazy world and we're in go.
It is.
You know, it's the hustle energy and
it was great. You know, I think because he was a senior agent, he's already gone through the ebbs and the flows. Like, he has over 26 years. So I think what he was ultimately looking for was someone to pass the torch to. And I just fit the bill. And I think that had I had not approached him that day, I wouldn't be where I am today. I have 26 years of knowledge that I can just tap into at any time. It doesn't matter day or night. I call him. He answers my calls because he knows I'm going to keep calling till he answers. He cannot get away from me.
Yeah.
But it benefits him at the end of the day. It benefits our team. It benefits our group. It benefits the brand. And ultimately, that is just, you know everything about branding. You have to just push, and eventually the goal is to be number one. And if you don't get there, that's okay. You'll get there at some point in time. Just time and effort really is what gets us all there. Yeah.
Beautiful. And let's shout out to all the partners of realtors, because I'm sure it's not easy for them, and having their partner in the middle of dinner answer calls or be on the computer late at night or lack of presence. So you're married and you met your partner abroad.
Yes.
Tell me what that was like, and what are some kind of strategies that you guys implement to like really work as a team and be able to have that mutual understanding of the type of career that you're in while still keeping a marriage really solid and that connection really strong.
Yeah, I'll be honest, relationships, from what it sounds like these days, are very difficult. A lot of people don't have what I call the core aspects of a relationship. I think a lot of people spend way too much time on their phones, and they see this fake life on Instagram and what things should look like, new bags, new cars, multi-million-dollar lifestyles. And that's really not what I think you should base your relationship off of. And unfortunately, I think that that's what a lot of women or girls these days base their relationship off of, is what can he buy me? What can he give me? And I think that when you're in a loving, committed relationship, you really need to be 100% and give 100%. And so does your partner. There is no 50-50 in things, because there's days where I'm at 20%. And my partner picks up the remaining 80%. And then there's days where my partner wants to be at 0% and I pick that up. So I think being in a committed relationship, you have to understand that you all attempt and you try to be 100% at all times, but it's not always like that. It's real life. Everybody uses Instagram as a basis of how the relationship should be. But I think ultimately, you're only putting your highlights on Instagram. You're not putting that you're crying or that you're upset or that you're broke or that you just got fired. No one puts that stuff on Instagram. It's such a facade. And I think the reason why we have been so successful in our relationship is because we don't advertise it. Our relationship isn't meant to be advertised. It's something that is sacred and it's between us. So we keep almost all of our lives off of social media specifically for that reason. I don't need any bad juju. I don't need any of that. So I think keeping everything under wraps and behind closed doors is really important, because that's your security. I find that a lot of people want to compare, oh, she got this or oh, she got that. And I don't think that comparing is healthy, because what your partner is supposed to give you isn't materialistic. It's supposed to be honesty, integrity, love, support, commitment, like all of those big, lovely words that cost $0. And I think that a lot of people really misunderstand what a true relationship is about. It's not about what he buys you. It's about what he gives you to feed your heart and your soul.
Yeah, of course. And and having that mutual respect for each other. And I think we've become definitely more superficial, like when you kind of see the way in which people talk about relationships, and how much people put their value, the weight of their value on the relationship, on what he has done for you.
A monetary value.
Yes, exactly. And then as a woman, it's a comparison. Oh, he didn't do that for you.
He's not good enough.
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't love you.
Yes,
I don't want someone to buy me with a purse. I'm much more valuable than a $5,000 or $10,000 bag.
Totally.
You have to buy yourself that bag, because that is going to mean so much more to you when you've put in the hard work and the effort and you've bought it yourself. You're going to get such a rush and such a high out of it. Not saying you want to go buy a bag. You can buy yourself a vacation, a car, a down payment on a house, anything that you have value. But I think that a lot of people just, like I said, they spend so much time doom scrolling on social media. Social media is such a toxic place. And it's a place where you can either use it to utilize it for your betterment or for your demise. And I think the majority of people use it for their demise, because they're always looking at what they don't have. And I just think that it's such a shame, because there's so much more in this world.
Oh, for sure. And again, it goes back to like being present and too many people being on their phone. And we just keep getting extremely disconnected from ourselves.
Absolutely.
And social media doesn't help. Doom scrolling doesn't help. And they say comparison is literally the root of like such deep negativity within yourself and your energy and your cells. Because when you compare, like there's always going to be someone that you feel or perceive as better, richer, prettier, happier, has a better life, more put together, more elegant, speaks more affluently. And every time we do that, we are putting somebody else on a pedestal. And when we do that, we are actually like negating and lowering ourselves.
Absolutely.
So the more you constantly do that, you're keeping yourself actually in a state of insecurity, and then in a state of always needing external validation.
Yes.
You need someone else to prove your worth. You need the partner or boyfriend to prove your worth. You need the gifts that you're getting, money that you're making.
all for you to
Client.
feel valuable, when all you have to do is just trust and believe in yourself. And you can be worth an unlimited amount. Yeah.
Let's go back to like burnout, and tell me about a time that you were kind of at your lowest, and what was like the pivotal moment that helped you shift out of that? Because I think a lot of us have been, now you always hear there's a little bit more anxiety, more depression, more things going on, that burnout leads to depression. And what was a time where like you just had a shift or an aha moment that you're like, this is like has changed the trajectory of my life now?
Yeah, I definitely can say when it comes to burnout, you just don't have motivation to do the basic things that you would ultimately do on a day-to-day basis, like not going to the gym anymore. That's a really big thing. Going to the gym releases, the feel-good hormones in your brain, which is what you need in your day to kind of get things going. So I think like if you stop going to the gym, you stop eating right, you're drinking, you're engaging in really negative habits. Those ultimately will wear you down over time. Drinking, going out late, not sleeping. So I think for me, noticing when my sleeping habits get really bad, if I'm waking up in the middle of the night, if I'm not really hungry or not eating, if I'm waking up in the morning and I just don't feel like getting up, not refreshed. There's always precursors before burnout happens. And if you don't listen to them, you're going to hit a wall. And it happens if you don't take care of yourself. So I've just noticed with my personal life, being go 7 days a week, I've had to create a schedule, and I've had to create a lifestyle for myself. So I hate mornings. I'm not a morning person. Like, I would love to sleep until 11, take my time, have my coffee, relish in the sunshine. So I think you just really need to create a lifestyle that makes you happy. So don't expect me to be anywhere at 8 a.m. I really hate being places at 9 a.m. If I have to, I'll do it. If I need to go, like today, I had a viewing today at 9:30 in the morning. Was I there? Absolutely. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. Did I want to be there? No. I want to be in my pajamas, cuddling with my cat. Like, let's be real here.
Yeah.
So I think it's just you have to work out what works best for you, and you don't know till you try. So I think the typical 9 to 5 grind, I hated it because I had to be somewhere at a time I didn't want to be, expecting to have output. So that's kind of why real estate works well for me. I have a nice slow morning, go to the gym, go do yoga, meditate, listen to music, like I said, play with my cat. And it's a really nice, slow morning. And I love that. I'm happy to work till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. Nighttime doesn't bother me, but I like my mornings to be slow.
You brought up a good point actually about really creating a life for you. And I think the more we just accept ourselves for who we are, where our energy is, where we feel our best, irregardless. I know there's all these books of like waking up at 6 a.m. and starting your morning. And
bless you.
And this
bless
is the
your
most,
souls.
Yeah, this
Don't
is
expect that of
the
me.
entrepreneurial way. But I think if you can accept like, hey, I'm not a morning person. I still hustle, I still grind, I do my thing, but I've created it in a way that actually makes me feel good doing it and in the process. And that might be waking up, having a slow morning, and working and getting those hours in at other times. And you can actually be more productive when you're using the mental capacity times where you are the most creative, you are the most energetic, and working with your body in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I feel like you just really have to do what's best for you. And it takes time to learn that. Had I had never been in real estate, I would have never really understood. I mean, I ultimately knew it at the end of the day, but I had never experienced it because I had just been the corporate life for, 12 years. That's a 9 a.m. start. University, that's like an 8 a.m. start, depending on your courses and your classes. So yeah, it's one of those things where me taking that leap of faith and doing something that was super scary. I had never been in a commission-only job. And that was ultimately just something that scared me. Like you said earlier, you have a need of security. I think all women have a need of security. But having taken that leap of faith has what's made me realize that I'm just not a morning person. Yeah, and that's okay. I'm a night owl through and through.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a morning person through and through. I like to be in bed at 10:30. That's my thriving kind of window of time, and that's what works for me. And you know, I like the mornings. I like slow mornings too. Don't get me wrong, just because I'm a morning person doesn't mean I'm out the door at 7 a.m. I start work at 10 a.m. and I love it that way. I love to go walk the little dog. I love to sit and have my coffee. I know you're supposed to have your coffee at 11 a.m. I get it, but I do it first thing, and I chug 4 glasses of water with it. So that's what works for me, and my health is in good standing. So unless I felt like I was in an adrenal fatigue or something like that, that I need to reduce that morning first thing caffeine. But yeah, you find kind of within what's healthy and within what fits your body and your lifestyle, what works for you. And I think the more you just accept that and not veer from it, like I do,
can't fight what you naturally are. And everybody's different. So what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. And that's okay. I think we just have to learn to explore ourselves and be open that we're different. Everybody's different. So when you start looking at yourself that you're just a unique being, then maybe just give yourself a little bit of leniency. Totally. Got to explore, learn.
And given that you met your partner abroad and you have this romantic global love story, are you very like traditional? Do you cook and clean? How do you organize this with your partner in a way that, you know, everyone's happy and, you know, keeping in mind happy wife, happy life, but also we want a happy husband too.
Yeah.
How as a couple do you coordinate this? You guys moved from the other side of the world back to Vancouver. And so what was that like in kind of negotiating with your partner, and what tips do you have for some people in, you know, newly married or in relationships or newly moving, living together?
You know what? Everybody has to have a role. And I do believe that men and women are very different. I'm all for the feminists who, you know, want to fight for their rights. I appreciate that, but I am very different than my partner. Very different. And I think that the way that we kind of worked it out was he didn't like my cooking. So he cooks.
Yeah.
I do the cleaning, the laundry, and we've kind of just divvied up our tasks. I don't stay at home. If I was a stay-at-home wife, I think things would be very different, but I'm not a stay-at-home wife. Not yet. But I think it was just, we had an open and honest conversation. What do you like doing? What do you not like doing? I do not clean toilets, so do not ask me to do that. I will happily pay to have a cleaner come in and clean the house. I also don't want to spend my downtime cleaning. I work really hard, so does my husband. So I feel like if I have to throw in a little bit of money to do a task, I'm cool with that. It doesn't bother me. And everybody's different. Ultimately, it's the expectation of your partner. What does your partner expect out of this relationship? And you have to respect that. And I hate to say you have to comply, but you do. There is in every relationship give and take. You're not going to sit there and just take, because then you might not have a relationship later on. So you do have to make concessions, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're less than because you made a concession. It just means that you have to do things sometimes that you don't want to do. And I think between us, it was just one of those things that were really simple for us. I always find that good relationships are not difficult to maintain. If it's too hard or it's too difficult to communicate, you're not with the right person. It should be effortless. I've been in other relationships where you have to just be somebody different. And whether you are in a relationship where you're not getting the right attention, the right love, whatever it is, you have to feel it in your heart that it's effortless. And I think that with us, we're very transparent about what we want, what we're wanting to do with our lives in the future. And there was a lot of conversations at the beginning around marriage, children, finances, family, expectations. And, you know, my husband being Middle Eastern, he comes from a very traditional background. And I am not a traditional woman. And that's okay, because we've found ways that work for us. And I think, you know, after over 8 years, we've been together and we're at that next stage where now we're talking about a family and kids. And what does that look like? And if I am going to get pregnant and have kids, will I stay home? Will I go to work? and it's my choice, and he has to support my choice. And obviously there'll be a conversation around that, but we just need to be honest with each other about our expectations. And I think that's where a lot of relationships fail. You don't communicate. You might have these thoughts in your head over and over and over, but your partner isn't a magician. They can't read minds. If you lack the ability to communicate effectively, clearly, and in a non-emotional way, like you can't be trying to communicate something while crying. That doesn't work. We've seen that happen. So you have to really understand communicating. And if you can't communicate, then all relationships are doomed, in my opinion. Yeah.
The word that comes to mind is courage.
Yeah.
Courage to speak up about who you are, what you like, what you don't like.
Absolutely.
So often, I feel like women, and I mean, it can be men as well, but I can only speak for myself, and the women I speak with, is that so often we try to fit in the box of what we think this partner or potential partner wants, only to grow resentment, only to grow frustrated, only to have kind of internalized stress, and we may not know why. This might turn into health problems over time, and having the courage to say, hey, like, this is what I like, or this is what I need,
or this is what I don't like.
Yes.
And
exactly.
It's okay to say what you don't like.
Yeah.
Because everybody has likes and dislikes. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I do think that ultimately you need to respect your partner's boundaries. You have to. Every person has their love language. Mine is time spent and physical touch. So if you go doing the dishes for me, that means nothing to me. I don't care. I want you to sit on the couch, hold my hand, watch a movie with me, and just spend time. If you go buy me a gift, great, thanks. But ultimately, that doesn't feed my soul. And you also have to remember that your partner might be different. And you have to do the things that make them feel that they're receiving love. So if that means your partner is acts of service, you just got to do those acts of service. Go do the laundry, go clean the dishes, do whatever it is that he needs you to do so that he feels that you are giving him love the way that he receives, not the way that you receive. And I think that's everybody's biggest issue, is they don't understand, number one, what the love languages are. They don't know, two, who they are. And then three, they don't even take the time or consideration to understand who their partner is. And then on top of that, be willing to go the extra mile and actually do what their partner, what their partner needs to receive that love. So yeah, having the courage is a big one. A lot of people are, like I said, the Instagram lifestyle, the highlight reel. They want to make everybody believe that everything is perfect. Nothing is perfect. No relationship is perfect.
I'm telling you, for me personally, I would not want to be in a relationship. You could have all the gifts and all the things in the world, and if my partner is not loyal, for me, that's such a big value.
It's a big no-no.
It doesn't
free.
Work for me.
It's free.
Yeah, the things that actually mean the most, at least to me, are completely free.
They're
it is
completely free.
Cherishing my feelings, listening, feeling seen, feeling heard, and having a partner where you do feel like a team player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know we're crazy hormonal creatures, and they have to deal with a lot. I get that. I'm sure, my husband thinks I'm a little cuckoo sometimes, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I am.
Yeah.
But I think we just need to be considerate. I think that's a big thing that a lot of people are missing these days, is consideration for the other person. And that can be in a relationship, in a friendship, in any way.
Yeah. And you speak so elegantly and eloquently, and from what I'm hearing and what I know of you, you are a very great communicator. Did this always come naturally to you? I know it can be difficult. It's very vulnerable to be in sales where you're, talking big numbers with a client. It's very vulnerable to share your wants and needs with a partner. Where did you learn the skills to become a good communicator? Did you always have this? Was it in your upbringing? Did you have to go learn?
No, I think that I've always been this way. I've always just been very opinionated, as you know. It's gotten me in trouble a little bit, but I think that that's just who I am. I have always been in a sales position where whatever job I've had in my life, I've always loved working with people, and I've always loved, figuring out what makes people tick, figuring out what makes people fall in love, figuring out, the song and dance of sales, because you either have it or you don't. It's a very difficult skill to learn if you don't have the gift of the gab. And I think that when it comes to communicating, you kind of have to be a little, you have to be a little unapologetic sometimes. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a very fine line between being rude and disrespectful and opinionated. And I think that just when you know that line and that boundary, and ultimately that relationship, are you best friends where you can just say, Noya, I think you need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, which is what we have. And that's what you get from me.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear it all the time, and that's fine. And I appreciate.
I'll call me the other friend when I need soft.
Yeah, when you need some soft cuddling. But when you need a real answer, you know who you call. And I think that communication is key to any friendship, relationship, work relationship. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, the people that I feel like don't progress in life are the ones that can't take the criticism. As long as it's constructive criticism, like no one's going around bashing you, harming you, putting you down. Everything needs to be constructive. Mm-hmm. Even when I work with clients, like they ask questions, you have to be willing to give them the uncomfortable answer. Not everything is sunshine and rainbows. Mm-hmm. So communication, I think, is just something that has been just ingrained in me since really young, and then getting into sales and having sales roles has always just kind of created that, that environment for me where I'm just pretty, I guess I'm half decent.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm not bad.
You know what? It's a great skill to have. And it's also a great skill that gets refined with time as we mature, the more like reflection and introspection and retrospection you do, you can be like, okay, let me think about this scenario. This is what I would have liked to say differently. What held me back from saying that? And what is it in my body that is like, feels like it's blocking me? Is it my fear of rejection? Is it my fear of getting criticism back if I try to give constructive criticism to somebody else? And really sitting with yourself and asking, is it worth it? And I feel 9.9 times out of 10 for me, it's always worth it to say something, even if it comes out wrong, of course, or not in the best way, as long as I know the intent that I have with it comes from a good place. Typically, it will still be received well, better than I think sometimes. Like I could be so anxious about a conversation I have to have, but I'm like, you know what? The pain of not saying anything and holding that in and holding myself back is more painful than the embarrassment or fear of that I could get criticism back and just saying it. So
what I learned, and what I always tell people if they have a fear of communicating, write it down. Write a letter. If you're in a fight with a friend, write a letter. If you need to, deal with maybe an uncomfortable situation, I like to write things down, because our minds just go on and on and on and on. We're like hyper repetitive beings where we just fixate. And I think that when you write something down, you can refine it. You don't need to be afraid of saying something and it coming out wrong. When you write it down, you can sit on it for an hour, a day, a week, and then deal with what you have to do later on. But I find that writing really just gets the idea and it makes it concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe that like rumination keeps us really stuck in our heads in that same story over and over again with literally no solution. It is insanity when we're in rumination, and every human being has been there. And also we're like stuck in the shock of the story, and then there's that like ego layer that wants to make them wrong and you right, and you keep kind of playing this in your mind, but really you're upset about something or hurt about something, or you feel unheard or unsaid or whatever it may be. And sometimes just writing it out allows you to actually like feel what's going on in your body.
Absolutely.
Because you can release some of that, and
you do,
and literally go to town. You can be writing and just get it all off. And half that rumination is already gone. And you've just like started that process of cycling whatever has been going on or whatever you're blocking from like actually feeling the rejection, and just going in there like, did they mean that? Is that what they said? What did they mean when they do that? Did they know they were hurting me?
You can drive yourself crazy. You literally will drive yourself mentally insane.
Totally.
Because like I said, it's festering. It's a wound that isn't healing, and it's going to continue to fester until you do something about it. And I know just from personal experience, I have tried to push things down and forget about it and ignore it, and it always comes back up. So if you don't deal with your problems, big and small, it will compound over and over and over again. So I think the way that my mother, of all people, the way that my mother describes it is whether the issue is big or small, think of it as a rock. And you're carrying your little bag.
Yeah.
And every time you have this issue and you don't deal with it, that rock gets added to the bag. And then that bag, when you got 1, 2, 3, 10 rocks, the bag is light. But when that, you start get 20 rocks, 30 rocks, that bag starts to become really heavy. And if you don't offload those rocks and you don't release them and let them go, you're really going to be carrying around a very heavy bag, and it is going to pull you down, and it is just going to make your life very uncomfortable. And it's inevitable. It happens to everybody. I think everybody just has a different threshold of their ability to carry around things. Some people break sooner. Some people pretend that they don't break, but ultimately everybody has a breaking point.
Totally. That's actually such a beautiful analogy. And I mean, we've all felt that when we've taken the action that we've been avoiding, and all of a sudden we feel a few of those rocks go away.
The release of rocks feels amazing, you guys. Just let them go.
It's good for the bag. No, yeah, we'll smacking.
Saves on the pocket a little bit when you let them go. Yeah.
Yeah. I find, at least when I first started a business in the beginning, when there was something I was avoiding, and sometimes I didn't even know I was avoiding it,
but subconsciously,
let's say there was something, I would start to get like neck pain here, and I would go see the osteopath or the RMT, and I would be like, I know there's something I have to deal with, but I've been so go.
Yeah.
I haven't even sat to think of like what that is. And then I would take a moment of silence, and I would just be like, oh, this is what it is. There was something that had triggered me that I totally didn't keep it in the forefront of my brain. And I'm like, okay, yes, I need to have a conversation with this team member. And it stays with you until you do, or until you acknowledge that it's there and how you want to deal with it. So action definitely helps changes the emotions, or that weight that's kind of just grows and stays with us.
Yeah. It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
How something from however many years ago can still be lingering in our bodies. And if we don't face it head on and we don't just deal with it, it's just going to stick around. It'll come back to bite you in the butt later on.
Yeah. There'll be a life lesson in it.
There always is a life lesson in everything that you do.
Yeah.
Always a life lesson. So deal with your life lessons, people. Just get it done.
Take the lesson and learn and grow. Otherwise, you will be in a cycle, and you will repeat, you will repeat until the point you're like, I've had enough. I want something different in my life. Otherwise, we are humans, and things are in cycles, whether those are 1-year cycles, 10-year cycles, 1-month cycles.
And these cycles will repeat themselves, whether you're in a relationship, it's a work situation, it's a friendship. They will come out in every way, shape, and form. So you just have to let go. And I ultimately think that is where a lot of people have difficulty. You can forgive. I always say, like, I forgive people not for them. I forgive people for me. Because for me to hold on to the pain and the anger and the frustration, it's not worth it. It's not worth holding on to. So, the famous forgive but never forget, like, it is a way to live your life, because if you don't forgive and you harbor that anger or the resentment or whatever that emotional feeling is towards another person, it's not hurting them. That's definitely hurting you.
It was a beautiful quote. It was like, resentment is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Because you're holding on to, you're the one being affected by it, not the other person. They could have no idea.
They are clueless. Most people are absolutely clueless. Yes. If you fail to communicate how you're feeling, they probably have no idea. So you're just going to sit there and it's going to fester, like I was saying, until you do something about it. So you either do something or you don't. You know what? And I think that at our point in our lives, being in our mid-30s, we have friendships that have lasted so long, relationships, and our worlds are just so busy. We don't really have time to hold on to that stuff. It's just better to let it go. If, a relationship has to end because it's not serving you anymore, that's okay. I think a lot of women these days are really afraid of being alone. And I don't know why. I loved being alone. Being single gave me the ability to go anywhere, be with anyone, travel. I ultimately was the ruler of my life. And I was comfortable sitting at home on my couch watching a movie on a Saturday night while everybody else was out clubbing and drinking and partying and doing all these fun things. But I was comfortable being alone. And I think that is what most women who are stuck in really bad relationships are afraid of. They're afraid of just sitting in their living room alone and dealing with everything that is kind of, going on in their lives. So when you're not afraid to be alone, your mind is clear. You don't have any of these little ties anymore. And you can just let go. And you got to learn to love yourself more. Because at the end of the day, you only have one life and one opportunity. So if you squander it because you're afraid of being alone.
I'm giggling because it reminded me of Eminem.
Really?
One life, one opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But honestly, it's such a powerful position to be in. And I couldn't agree more. And truly being with yourself. I mean, most of the things that we're distracted by in life is we are avoiding being by yourself. So I think that's a very powerful message and thing to say, and a good practice for everyone out there is to get comfortable being alone, get to know yourself, and just embrace it and enjoy.
There's nothing wrong. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So you just got to love it for what it is. Yeah.
Well, this wraps up our episode for today. And honestly, it's been such a beautiful episode going through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship, confidence, burnout, esteem, believing in yourself, the power of communication.
Yes.
And we're just going to wrap this up with a little quick fire.
Okay,
let's do it.
What's this?
Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Okay. Well, I was going to say dog or cat, but we know the answer.
We know the cat, always. Little Cheddar is like the cutest little nugget.
Wait, Dubai or Vancouver?
Oh, Dubai. But Vancouver, because it's home.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful. And, okay, sports game or comedian?
Comedian.
Yeah?
Yeah, always.
And then are there any books that you're reading right now?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad is always one that I reflect on, and I've read several times. It's just something that's always speak to me. So I would say that's just the book that comes to mind.
Yeah. And your guilty pleasure?
Sleeping in. My guilty pleasure, I'd say just honestly, I love my sleep. I don't function without, a solid 8-9 hours. And so for me, that is something, besides a really good quality mattress and really good quality shoes, those are the 3 things in life that I absolutely must have. You sleep 1/3 of your life.
Yeah.
So,
And you walk.
And you walk everywhere. So don't wear these shoes because they hurt.
Yeah, I love that. Well, it was honestly so amazing to have you. I'm glad we finally did this.
I love it.
And it's just been so amazing seeing you through the years, seeing you and your husband, seeing you in your career path and entrepreneurship. There's even so much more we didn't touch on.
Oh, yes.
I'm looking forward to our big group dinner that we've got planned
for Christmas. Yeah. Exciting.
Yes, at your mom's. It's going to be really nice.
It'll be awesome. Lots of fun, lots of food, lots of games. Probably get a little tipsy.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to Caviar Conversations with Dr. Noya. And I'm so excited to touch base with you guys at the next episode.